Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and people are asking me for an update on my oldest son who's playing JUCO baseball right now, which is junior college baseball for those of you that don't follow things. Anyway, he's a lefty pitcher, and the update I would give you is, for those that don't know, junior college baseball is almost like being in the MLB. It's a grind. They're not bound by the same rules that the NCAA is, and so these guys are practicing hard and they're doing it year round. So if I had to describe my son right now, he is almost so tired by 8 o'clock at night that he can barely see straight. But he is working his butt off, and all I asked him, I said, your whole life I had you in a cage and I told you you were not the best baseball player in the world, but you were going to work harder than anybody else. And you would always be able to say that no matter what field you walked onto. And that is what he's doing now. And so I asked him the other day, I said, is there anybody on that team that works as hard as you? He said, oh, well, there might be one or two guys that work hard. I said, is there anybody on that team that wants it worse than you? And he said, no. And I said, well, then you've already got it licked, because that's half the battle. How bad do you freaking want it? And are you willing to never quit? If you can do those two things, you've got 99.99999% of life whipped. Okay, moving on. NVIDIA, yesterday I was online, and everywhere I looked, NVIDIA this, NVIDIA that. It's almost like NVIDIA's a psyop for them to, it's certainly a Wall Street pump, if nothing else. But they had earnings coming out or something, and they had doubled their revenue or something like that. But AI is, and maybe it's just that AI is so big right now. But here's a picture of the NVIDIA CEO holding up what he calls the biggest AI chips in the world. They actually are not. It's the Cerebrus AI chip. Look at that bad boy. And guess what? I checked. My sponsor, Link2, has, my sponsor, Link2, has Cerebrus on the platform. And I've got this thing. I try to read it so I say it right. So if you want to top off, right here, you can download the app, or you can go to linqto.com, and you can also check out, they've got the new fast onboarding process welcoming all investors from the US. All right, so go check it out. Now, eGrag Crypto, he's been quiet recently. He says XRP half pump could lead to $27. Fib channel is an amazing leading indicator. If XRP experiences half of its 2017 pump, it would reach 0.61 Fib. This puts us around $27. The gate will swing wide open once we close above 75 cents with conviction. Uh-oh. Now, this is interesting. Less confident that they will appeal. The SEC may not have made up their mind yet, or maybe they did. Like I said, it's funny how they maintain the suspense with the case in particular. With this case in particular, you are right to be less confident about it. They won't appeal. Oh, that's stated as a fact. And it's a retweet of Bill Morgan, who I think is an attorney in Australia. I'm increasingly less confident that the SEC will appeal the Ripple summary judgment decision if merely legal considerations are influencing the decision whether to appeal. I pointed out in the post yesterday that Judge Orrick in the Kraken case preferred the approach of Judge Jackson in the Binance case and Judge Torres in the Ripple case that distinguishes between primary and secondary market transactions. I was 80-20 for an appeal, now down to 55-45 for an appeal. And this guy says if the SEC wouldn't have planned to appeal, they would have made public statements already in the ruling, which ordered Ripple to pay $125 million for violating securities laws. The SEC may not have yet made up its mind either way. So, going to be interesting. What does that sound? I think there's my washer or dryer is making it's some kind of like little song it does when a load's finished or something. Check this out. You know it's bad when CNBC is calling out Kamala Harris on her communist ideas.
Unrealized gains, taxing unrealized gains just doesn't seem fair in any sense of the word. In the very best sense, if you are taxing unrealized gains, all you're doing is pulling forward the taxes that would be paid later when someone actually sells the stock.
I think that this reaction to unrealized gains is a little funny, given that I bet that the majority of people watching right now are already paying a tax on unrealized gains. It's called a property tax. When the value of your home goes up,
it's a use tax.
When the value of your home goes up, you pay higher taxes, even if you don't sell your home.
Your value of your home never moves the way a stock moves, the way something else moves.
That's always the go-to answer.
It's also, property tax is a use tax. You're paying for the schools, you're paying for emergency services. Those are things that make absolute sense.
And sure, and all the revenue that comes in from these unrealized gains taxes and the other taxes in the Harris plan are going to go to creating what she calls more opportunity. It's to make sure that every newborn born in this country gets $6,000.
Using the services.
Well, look, you're arguing that this is some sort of foreign concept that's completely unknown.
It's probably unconstitutional. It's probably, and it was never in anyone's intent to tax.
It's not an income tax,
and it's never going to happen.
Folks, it is like they are going out of their way to try to piss us off. That's what this feels like. All these Democrats are reeling. They just can't get their mind around why Gary Gensler, and because of his handler Elizabeth Warren, just keeps cracking down on the crypto industry in the final few months of an election cycle. Representative Wiley Nickel, the aggressive use of regulation by enforcement from SEC is blatant abuse of power that erodes trust and transparency in the regulatory system. This heavy-handed approach creates widespread uncertainty and threatens to derail progress during digital innovation in the United States. The SEC should choose to work with Congress to craft clear, fair, you know the drill. It's the same crap we've been hearing for 5 years, okay? Nothing ever happens, but they, and this is all in response to the OpenSea Wells notice yesterday. Mark Cuban, who said that we're going to get a crypto reset, also makes you wonder if Gary Gensler is secretly a John Deaton supporter. He is doing everything in his power to end Senator Warren's career. And then this is an older clip from a couple of years ago, I think, where a congressman, Richie Torres, I think is his name, is asking, because in the OpenSea, Gary Gensler is basically saying, with his Wells notice, saying that the NFTs are securities. So here, Torres is asking him about this to try to drill down. And this is the upside down world we've been living through for the last, under Gary Gensler, is that you never get any clear answers, but then he tells you that it's very clear.
Suppose I were to purchase a Pokemon card. Would doing so constitute a security transaction?
You could purchase a Pokemon card. I don't know what the context is, but if you're just purchasing a Pokemon card.
If I purchase a Pokemon card, is that a security transaction?
Store, that's not a security.
Okay. If I were to purchase a tokenized Pokemon card on a digital exchange via a blockchain, is that a security transaction?
I'd have to know more.
Okay. So for you, the process of tokenization is what transforms a non-security transaction into a security transaction?
Look. If the investing,
I thought you were technology neutral.
He basically says if the investing public has a expectation of profits, folks. I remember all the Pokemon stuff before digital assets even existed, before NFTs even existed. Those people had an expectation of profit. People that were selling Cabbage Patch dolls had an expectation of profit. That is a bogus argument. The people that sell baseball cards have an expectation of profits that doesn't make them securities. And Gary knows this. That's why what this person was saying actually, this is what we're getting at right here. First, John Deaton points out the obvious. We all know who the captain of the crusade against crypto is, and it's not Gary Gensler. Here's a hint. But this is the tweet I wanted to show you. Jesse Powell, CEO of Kraken, everybody's finally getting over the target. I know everybody thought all of us here when we were exposing ETHgate, we're all just a bunch of we're an extreme XRP cult and all that. We were calling this stuff out way back then. Now they're all coming in and they're calling it what it really is. Look at this. This is obviously, he's talking about the OpenSea Wells notice. This is obviously absurd on its face. No, they aren't that dumb. The point isn't to win. The point is to distract, waste resources, spread FUD, and slow us down. But why is it always American companies? It's time for a serious investigation into these treasonous acts of sabotage. Does anybody remember when we were uncovering ETHgate and we kept saying all roads lead to China? And I used to say, I would say, who's Gary really working for? And I would put Chinese flags all around my comment because we knew then these people are compromised. And I think Jesse Powell's starting to get it. When will Hasbro announce a legal fund to protect the unlicensed brokers of unregistered collectible cardboard securities from the SEC? They know, folks. Gary Gensler and Elizabeth Warren, they know that their argument's bull. This is regulatory capture. This is to stop the industry. That's why remember Operation Choke Point 1.0 was for the purpose of making things that were legal, to stopping them through the regulators, like for instance purchasing bullets. Operation Choke Point 2.0 is no different. They know these things are legal, but that's not the point. It's to use the regulatory agencies to stop an activity that is legal. Check this out, Emi Yoshikawa. She's over there in Japan. She's with Ripple in Japan. Final of WebX will be keynote of president of SBI Holdings. He also touched on collaboration with Ripple on international remittance solutions and NFTs. Look, NFTs are thriving over in Japan. Using the XRP ledger at Kansai Expo. I'm looking forward to next year's WebX in Osaka. And here he is. Look at this. This is pretty cool. There's an SBI slide. There's Yoshitaka Katao. He's like a Donald Trump in Japan. And look at this. Speaking of ETHgate, Mr. Huber says, haha, Lubin's SEC-approved token foundry has just undergone another name change, and it's now called CDS1 Securities LLC. Why do this? Especially when even auditors have given up on it, because he needs that entity to disguise his ETH ecosystem holdings. And I said they disguise the whales, now they're disguising token factories. Remember, the SEC has never done anything about Token Foundry, which they were pumping out tokens. There were VCs involved. Folks, XRP Unleashed is coming out in November, and they're going to do these premieres around the country, and I plan on being in a few of them because these people, the story's going to be told. In fact, it's going to be told on Amazon Prime and on Apple TV. That's where they're going to do it. Now, in DAIXRP.com, folks, all of the lies that we've been surrounded with, and I don't mean some of them, but all of them, are unraveling. Lies do not stand the test of time. It is unbelievable and surreal what we're watching unfold right now. And it's scary, too, because it makes the liars very desperate. I can't even talk about it out here because, everybody's talking about how Mark Zuckerberg came out and Facebook censored at the direction of Biden and the White House, that Facebook censored Americans about the Hunter Biden laptop, about all sorts of things. Well, there is one that's worse than Facebook, I won't say their name. I will in the group. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.